Today, I'm gonna take my mom's basic deviled egg recipe and I'm gonna kick it up a notch by making Cajun crab deviled eggs. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna make some crispy shallots, which are going to top this deviled egg with some crab. I have a medium shallot here and we're just gonna slice this as thin as possible. If you have a mandolin or something like that, you can use that. I'm just gonna use a sharp knife. So we're gonna square off the ends here. So now I'm just gonna take these pieces and separate them so that they're not stuck together. Break out all the individual little rings here. So this is what we're looking for, and now let's move over to the stove and get these in some oil. All right, so we have our shallots in a very small saucepan here, and we're just gonna add enough vegetable oil to cover them. You don't wanna use an oil with a lot of inherent flavor like an olive oil. All right, we're gonna turn this to high heat first until we see it bubbling rapidly. So we're starting to see it bubble here, and that's sort of the moisture starting to come off of these. That's part of this crisping process, is we wanna get the moisture out of there. Just give these a little stir here. We've got some really rapid bubbles going here. We're gonna turn our burner down to just about medium, maybe a little below medium. So what we're looking for is the bubbles to basically subside, to go away. That'll mean the moisture's out of them, and we're also looking for them to turn golden brown. That'll tell us when it's time to get these off of here and onto a paper towel to dry. As you can see, we're starting to get some golden brown in here on some of these, and the bubbling is starting to slow down. All right, these are looking good. You can see our bubbling is almost completely ended. I'm gonna turn the heat off and we're gonna transfer these to a plate with paper towels. Let them dry. Now we're gonna make the Cajun seasoning. Now, if you have a pre-made Cajun seasoning, you can go ahead and use that. This is my Cajun seasoning. We're gonna start with 2 tablespoons of kosher salt, a tablespoon of cayenne pepper, a tablespoon of paprika, a tablespoon of granulated garlic, a half a tablespoon of ground black pepper, half a tablespoon of onion powder, half a tablespoon of ground thyme, half a tablespoon of ground oregano, and a 1/4 teaspoon of celery salt. Just gonna put our lid on here and shake it to mix it up. Gonna give this a little taste. Cajun-y. Now just so you know, we're not using all of this in the deviled egg mixture. This is making a larger batch to have around. We're only gonna use a smaller amount of this. All right, let's move on to the eggs. All right, so what we're working with here are 6 whole eggs, and that's gonna make a dozen deviled eggs. We boiled these eggs earlier. We actually put them into water that was already boiling. That went for 12 minutes. Then we took them out of there, put them in an ice bath to cool down before we peeled them, and then put them in the refrigerator for a while to chill some more. So what we have here are our 6 yolks, and we're just gonna start mashing these with a fork. Now, if you've seen another video I did on my mom's deviled egg recipe, this might look familiar because the base for this is her recipe. And I'll put a link to that other video up in the corner here so you can check it out if you want. And we're not making this creamy. That's not the way my mom made deviled eggs. You want a little bit of chunkiness to it. So we don't want to mash these completely until they're just silky. To this, we're going to add a 1/4 cup of mayonnaise, a teaspoon of white vinegar, and a teaspoon of mustard. I'm using a stone ground mustard since these are Cajun eggs. We're just going to mix this all together. Now to this, we're gonna add our Cajun seasoning. We're gonna start with half a teaspoon and we'll adjust from there. Mix this all up again. Gonna give this a taste, see if we need to add any more seasoning. I'm gonna add a tiny bit more. I'm not even talking a half a teaspoon, maybe an 1/8 of a teaspoon, just to get a little more of that flavor in there. And if you really want to fire it up, you can add as much as you want. You can add some Tabasco, anything you want here. Just watch with the liquid so it doesn't get runny. Give this another quick taste. Okay, that's good. I like that. To this, we're going to add about 1.5 ounces of lump crab meat. It's kind of been broken down a little bit. And this has been drained. You want to make sure you drain this. You don't want wet crab meat in here. All right, let's get this into a Ziploc bag that we're going to use to fill our eggs. So what I have here is a Ziploc bag, plastic bag, whatever you want to use, that's been filled with our deviled egg crab mixture. And we've just sort of snipped the tip off so that you can have a wide opening, because remember, there is lump crab meat in here. So what we're going to do, take our egg, squeeze it, fill it, just like that, nothing else to it. And if you just want to leave it in the little container here while you do this, there you go. There we go, all filled. You could eat them right now if you wanted to, but we're going to top these off. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to take some of the lump crab meat that we didn't use in the mixture, and we're going to put some on top of each of these eggs. Doesn't have to be a lot, it's just for a little bit of extra crab flavor here. If you want to put more, you're welcome to. Load it up. If anybody seems like they got left out, just give them a little more crab. Now we're going to take just a little bit of our Cajun seasoning and sprinkle it on each one. I'm talking just like a pinch. Just for a little bit of color there before we get our crispy shallots on. Also gives you a nice little bit of that Cajun flavor. A lot of people put a sprinkling of paprika on their deviled eggs. This sort of replaces that. And definitely kicks it up a notch. Now it's time for some crispy shallots on top. Just for some nice crunch, a little extra texture, and some great flavor. You could also do this with garlic. You could fry some garlic, crisp it up, if you want to add some extra garlic flavor to these. But shallots are a really nice addition. There we go, they're done. It's time to taste. All right, here we go, our Cajun Crab Deviled Eggs. I don't know how many of these I'll have to taste in order to talk about them enough, but I don't mind. Here we go. Ooh, I think my mom would love these. That crab in there is a great flavor, and I gotta tell you, that little bite of crispy shallots on top is amazing. The Cajun flavor in here with that amount, a 1/4 teaspoon plus 1/8 teaspoon, is just perfect. If you want more heat, add more. If you want less heat, take it away. But really, this has just enough of a little kick so that you know that that Cajun seasoning is there. And the real trick to getting those shallots crispy without burning them is to really watch when those bubbles stop. And when they just start turning golden brown, that's the time to take them out. If you go too far, they'll burn and they'll get bitter, but let me tell you, these are perfect. So if you're looking to make deviled eggs that are kicked up a notch with some great seafood flavor added to them, these Cajun Crab Deviled Eggs fit the bill perfectly.